what in your opinion,
Mhm.
is the most beautiful style aesthetically to watch in a kung
It's
fu movie?
it's not the style.
Mm.
It's the artist.
I actually put Drunken Master 2 ahead of Drunken Master 1.
So do I. But let me finish the answering this question,
Okay.
which is Legendary Weapons of China is my third, and the reason it's third, has the most kung fu of any movie ever made. All
Okay.
sorts of different kinds of kung fu. I was the kung fu consultant on Kung Fu Panda, and what happens at the end of Kung Fu Panda is what I teach. They couldn't do anything about Fist of Fury. They couldn't do anything about the big balls. They could do something about Game of Death, and they did. They emasculated that. They ruined it.
Greetings, YouTube. It's your boy, OG Ant in the building. We got a banger for y'all today. We got legends in the building. We got legends. So I want to thank you all for being here and taking the time to spend with us today on a very special day here at Lone Wolf and Cub. I want to get right into it. Today, we are honored to welcome a true authority in the world of martial arts cinema and history. Our featured guest is a renowned historian, author, and one of the foremost experts on Kung Fu films and their cultural impact. With decades of research and a deep passion for the genre, he's helped bring greater appreciation to classic martial arts storytelling around the world. He's here to share his insights on the artistry, influence, and enduring legacy of Kung Fu cinema, exploring what makes these films so powerful and why they continue to resonate with audiences today. Please join me in welcoming the legend, Kung Fu Santa himself, Mr. Ric Meyers.
Oh my! Who is he talking about? Couldn't be me. Anyway, hey everybody.
Hey, I want to welcome you, sir. I want to thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I am absolutely honored to be in your presence.
We'll see. We'll see if you feel the same way at the end of the interview.
I'm pretty sure I will. I'm pretty sure I will. Thank you again so much.
My pleasure.
I
Thank
think
you.
that I think that as we continue to grow our channel and build it out, I think these types of conversations and bringing on people such as yourself, I think that it is absolutely important and tantamount to keeping this genre that we all love so much, keeping it alive. And so again, from the bottom of my heart, we here at Lone Wolf and Cub, we want to thank you so much for being here. So thank you so much.
I'm humbled. I'm shocked.
No, you should not be.
I'm frightened.
Oh no, never that. This
I
is
will
this.
not live up to this.
No. Well, as I will say to you right now, you're welcome home. You're home right here. Very welcome, sir. So why don't we get right into it? I know that this what happens when you have questions lined up and then things kind of turn left and right and you wind up going down a rabbit hole. Feel free to wax philosophic and say whatever comes to mind. I know that you will bring your bevy of knowledge and introspection with you. So again, welcoming you to that. Let's start off with the very first question.
Okay.
Because
Good idea.
Because myself, being the age that I am, I know who you are. However, we do have a cohort within our channel that perhaps may not. And so I'd like, if you would, to tell us a little bit about yourself. What drew you personally to the genre in the first place, and what kept you hooked?
Well, there we go. We have to go back to the beginning. I mean, I became a professional author, writer, editor in 1974. And by then, I had seen the Bruce Lee movies.
Okay.
And I went, okay, nice. But prior to that, I had seen all the Roy Rogers westerns. I had seen all the detective shows on television. I had seen all the science fiction movies. I had seen all the fantasy movies, all the exploitation movies. And again, I saw Bruce Lee and I went, oh yeah, he's a pretty angry guy. And one of my favorite things about him was the moment he's done it, I think, at least in 2 of his movies. He has a where, interestingly, the camera stays on him. It doesn't show the because this was in the early 70s, because they're not, or the late 60s, early 70s, when he filmed it in Hong Kong originally. And I just always loved that shot where he the guy, his fist disappears off screen, and they hold on his face, and his face is just warped in rage, but also fear and also pain. And by then, I had as my father put it, my childhood was, this is his exact word, difficult.
Wow.
And I had experienced mental and physical pain by the time I was probably 2 years old. And there was a moment during my childhood where a bunch of people from the neighborhood, they were having fun, and I was the youngest one, and they locked me in a shed, a tool shed, which had a little glass window in the door. And I was so petrified of being locked in there that I put my fist through the glass. And the glass cut me. And I have never forgotten the feeling of the glass going into my flesh and cutting my flesh. And that was the first and almost the last time I ever made a fist. And so since then, whenever I would see Roy Rogers fight in his movies, when I'd ever see, all the detectives on television fight, everybody would make a fist, and I would immediately feel that pain again. And I would say, once I got to the age of 5, I never wanted to feel that pain again. And so I knew what the pain felt like when you used your fist, and up until this moment, it's like, this is one of the weakest parts of the human body. And everyone around me is constantly using it. And I'm going, why? And also they're using against one of the strongest parts of the human body.
Absolutely.
And they're still doing it. And I'm going, that's not something I want to do. So I saw Bruce Lee, and I saw that look of pain and fear and power on his face. And I admired that enormously, because all the action stuff before then, and later on too, with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, they were always trying to prove how badass they were. And so they were using their fists because they wanted to show that they could use their fists and feel no pain. They could pick up a big gun and dozens of people and show no pain, psychic or otherwise. And I'm like going, and by then I had become a novel writer. I had worked in film, I had worked in television. I'm going, I do not want to do that. And also in reality, when the bullies would come to me in school, I would always go, no, I'm not going to. My mothers, plural, specialized in causing me pain. And so I had made a decision with myself. I had a little talk with myself and said, don't you be like them. Do not cause yourself pain. And I said, all right, so now I have to figure a way around that, because everyone around me is using their fist and being badass. And the other thing that made me laugh so much in all the Westerns and all the detective movies and everything else, not only did they use their fists to hit other people, but whenever the other person went to hit them, there was one of two things they would do. They would either block with their arm, and one time, somebody said, do you use blocks in your style? We'll get to that, because I listened to Bruce Lee and his teachings, and I knew his entire family. And Bruce Lee always taught, and of course I was good friends with Jackie Chan by this time.
Wow.
And Bruce Lee would always say, learn everything you can from everyone you can, then make it your own.
Yes.
And then I would always say that virtually everybody I ever met would then Life of Brian Bruce. Because Bruce was gone by this time. In fact, by the time all of America discovered Bruce Lee had been dead for a month. By the time Enter the Dragon came out,
Right.
he was already gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember all these kids would go and try to I want to find out what Bruce does.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but there was no Kung Fu in America. There was karate, there was Taekwondo, there was
Correct.
Judo.
Right.
And they would go to these schools. And I also discovered there are two types of martial art teachers. There's the one who want to spread knowledge, and there are the ones who want to make a living. And the ones who want to make a living, when these kids, the ones who wanted to spread knowledge, these kids, and that's much fewer than the ones who want to make a living. When these kids would come in, he'd say, well, we don't do Kung Fu. We have karate or Aikido or Jiu-Jitsu or whatever it was they were teaching,
yes,
which was very different. But the ones who wanted to make a living would say, and the people say, could you teach Kung Fu? And they go, sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we teach Kung Fu. And they figure, we'll figure it out. But of course, by then, all fist-based, all anger-based, all muscle-based.
Yeah. Make
so
dojos.
So that's what, exactly. And so I, again, didn't want to do that. So again, Bruce didn't have much effect on me in terms of what I was searching for. But I was using my brain, and look how big my head is. So I had a fairly big brain. So I followed what Bruce said, but then I followed what Jackie said, because Jackie added something to that. Because Jackie loved Bruce. They worked together. He tells these wonderful stories of working with Bruce in the two movies that he did with Bruce. And he always said to me, learn everything you can from everyone and everything you can, then make it your own. And guess what? Look back at the history of Kung Fu film and the history of Kung Fu teaching. Who's the one guy who actually followed, who didn't Life of Brian Bruce? Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan made it his own, which is why Bruce Lee and Bruce Le and Bruce Liang and all those guys, once Bruce Liang became Bruce Liang, he made it his own. But everybody else was copying Bruce.
Yes.
But Jackie, he's Jackie. And that's why he's a huge success and a gigantic failure. But I followed what they suggested. And again, to make it your own, because Bruce says it, Jackie says it, anybody who's not trying to make a living will tell you, everybody's Kung Fu is different because it's you. You're not trying to copy anybody. But we have all these other people who are constantly copying and doing a diluted, they're not doing Kung Fu because Kung Fu is Chinese. They're doing Japanese, they're doing, and they're doing Thai, and they're doing all this other stuff. And again, what America keeps teaching to this day and beyond, because I stopped being surprised that humans act like humans. So it's kind of like everything that's happening now has happened before. Those who do not learn from history are destined to repeat it.
Life is cyclical.
But the other thing is that I don't live in the world. I live inside this body. I know this body is ending. My parents have already died. I've been at their bedside. I know, and I looked at their bodies and I said, yeah, the captain has left the ship, but the ship remains. So I know what's going to happen. And as a writer of more than 75 books and working on more than 300 DVDs, Chinese and otherwise, I know the end of the story. So the important thing is that when people ask me where I live, I go, I live here.
Excellent.
I live inside this thing for now.
Wow.
So it's all. So the Kung Fu I created is designed specifically for me because I'm a certain age, I'm a certain weight, and I'm a certain temperament. Again, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. If you ever see pictures of me over at the Urban Action Showcase and other places, and I'm lined up with all the other Kung Fu stars and the Kung Fu teachers and the Kung Fu students, guess they're all doing this. They have that famous right arm with the fist.
Yeah.
But look at me. What am I doing?
Yeah. A lot of testosterone at those things.
But look at me. I'm doing this. Always open hand. Open hand. My style, I have the symbol. We created it. It has a Chinese name. My style is translated to open mind, open hand, open heart. Was jumping ahead. I did my books on martial art movies. I mean, this was my first one back in 1985. I was the pioneer I started it in 1978, Well, we'll get to back to the main story, the 1978 story. This was the next one I did. These things are still selling.
Wait.
Yeah,
That's you?
that's
That's
me.
yours too?
That's my name right
Wow.
there. There's my name.
I've seen this one before. I've seen this.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's an update of this.
Okay.
And the great story about this one is originally on the cover when they gave me the cover.
Mm-hmm.
This picture here of Michelle Yeoh
Mm-hmm.
was Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I went into the publisher and said, look at the title of the book. Look at the title of the book.
Oh.
Has the great JCVD ever done a great martial art movie? I don't think so. He's done good ones. He's done okay ones. He's done a lot of not so good ones. No, we're putting Michelle on here because I didn't get Michelle on the cover of the first one. So now back to the main story. Anyway,
Wow.
so
Rick, I'm like a kid right now. Oh my God,
I'm glad.
Keep going.
I'm like an adult, but no, I'm also like a big old kid.
Oh my God.
But what happened was that I went to work in 1974 at Atlas Comics in New York. I was hired to be assistant editor of Atlas Comics, and there's a long story of that's happening. By the time that ended, I had written 3 Destroyer novels. I was doing novels, and then and at that time, again, because I created my own kung fu without calling it kung fu then, because that was the trick. The reason why I did martial art movie books, but it wasn't until 2011 that I did the kung fu film book.
That's the one I got. Yeah.
There's the one you got. The reason is that because I knew what I had to do is I saw all the movies and I loved all the movies. Again, get the main story. I'm on the set of Superman because I'm working for Starlog magazine. And I'm working for Starlog magazine because I went to see Star Wars. And I came out of Star Wars and I was like thrilled. I saw the second showing in New York. I was like, I couldn't believe how great this is. And so I'm walking down the streets in Manhattan and there's a magazine rack. And on the magazine rack, there's one magazine early on that has a picture from Star Wars on the cover. And that magazine was Starlog. And I went, wow. And I picked up the magazine. Oh, this is so cool. And then I looked, because this is me at this point. This is my kung fu. I can tell you the story back in junior high school of a bully coming up to me and how I also developed my actual kung fu from what he tried to do to me and how I responded. But we'll get to that. But so I looked up and I went, oh, Starlog is published in New York. Cool. So guess what I did? I went home, I picked up my science fiction film book, my fantasy film book, and I went to the offices of Starlog without an appointment. And I came into the lobby and said, hi, I wrote these 2 books. Wow. Can I help you guys out? Is there something I can do for you?
Wow.
My time, because again, I learned from Jackie, never ask what they can do for you. Always ask what you can do for them. And be ready to do stuff for them. So I would never, in addition to going to the address, I also did, by then I had already worked on 4 different magazines at Atlas Comics and Seaboard periodicals. So I knew how magazines worked. That's why I was able to walk in and said, anything I can do for you. Because I know they were always looking for writers. I wound up writing virtually everything on the magazines for Atlas because we couldn't find somebody who knew about deadlines, who knew about word counts. So I go in there, can I help you? I came in on the right day because the secretary went into the back, went to the publisher, Kerry O'Quinn, and said, we got this kid out here who's written some books on science fiction films. He's asked if there's anything that they could do for us. Kerry O'Quinn comes running out and he said, listen, Werner von Braun just died. Werner von Braun was a Nazi. He worked on the B-2 rocket system. But then at the end of the war, America didn't put him in jail. America said, could you run our space program? And he went, sure. And so he was running the space program and they were going to the moon, but he had just died. And Kerry comes out and goes, we need an obituary on Werner von Braun. Can you give that to us? And I said, when do you want it? Because I was ready to do it right there. And he said, no, come back tomorrow, come back soon, but we need it and then he told me what the deadline was, because that was my next question. What's the deadline? What's the word count? How many words do you need? So I went home thrilled. And I wrote an obit to that size. Came back the next day, and I'm living in Connecticut, so I have to take the train. I don't care. I'm having a thrilling time. I couldn't even sit down on the train. I was standing on the train. I came into the office. I gave it to him, and he said, I'll call you when I'm done. I said, no, I'll wait, because it was short. It was like 750 words. So he goes into his office, and he came out, and he said to me, still one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten for my nonfiction work, which was, you brought him back to life.
Wow.
And I went,
what a fantastic compliment. Wow.
The best thing I always said when I worked in comics was in that little frame behind me, above my finger here. One of the greatest artists of all time didn't know that I had written a story for him to illustrate. And he said, this is one of the greatest things. And I went, hee. Anyway, and then Kerry O'Quinn says, how would you like to be assistant editor?
Just
Long
like that.
Story. Yeah, because of the Werner von Braun story. He said,
wow,
we want you to be contributing editor. So I worked for Starlog for a year and a half. And the main thing, the highlight of my year and a half there was that they sent me to be on the set of the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner Superman for a month.
Whoa.
And so I'm on the set of Superman for a month, and I'm having, it's amazing. It was all the Lex Luthor scenes. And I came back, and it was so great. And I was friends with Christopher Reeve by this time. The night before it premiered in New York, I was in Christopher Reeve's New York apartment. And I said, after tomorrow, you're never going to see me again. I'm never going to see you again. He goes, oh, no, we're friends. Next day, I never saw him again. But that's okay, because I was on the set, and I went to see the movie. And when I was on the set, Lex Luthor's henchman was not played by Ned Beatty as he is in the movie.
Okay.
He was being played by Peter. He was played by the guy who played the old blind man in Young Frankenstein. I'm blanking on his name.
Peter Boyle?
Peter Boyle.
No. Gene Hackman is the blind man in Young Frankenstein.
Right. That's right. And Peter Boyle was Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
But Peter Boyle played the henchman, Lex Luthor's henchman. But he had, because the movie went so over schedule, he had to leave the production. So they had to recast him very quickly and quickly reshoot the shots. But I wasn't there for that. I was there for Peter Boyle as the henchman.
Wow.
And Peter Boyle was perfect as the henchman, because Gene Hackman
is that like in a director's cut or something like that? Is that there?
You see, there's some clips that you can still see in pictures of him, but for the most part, because
I remember Ned Beatty. That's why.
Right. Everybody remembers Ned Beatty. He's in the finished film.
Okay.
And because Richard Donner did not have control of the production, it was the producers, the Salkinds and Pierre Boulle, Pierre, I'm forgetting blank his name, but anyway, so he didn't have control of it. So I went to see the movie on the day after the premiere, and I saw Ned Beatty, and I went, that's terrible, because Richard Donner had posters all over Pinewood Studios where he filmed Superman saying verisimilitude. He wanted it to be as realistic as possible. But my dad was...
Can I stop you right there?
Okay.
Real quick. Real quick. No. No, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the second time that I've heard that phrase. There's a gentleman on YouTube that I admire a lot. He works with this gentleman named John Campia. His name is Robert Meyers Burnett. I don't know if you've ever heard that name before.
I have heard Myers and Burnett. I haven't heard of the Robert part.
He
Wait a minute,
he says that very...
Is he Rob Burnett?
Rob Burnett or Robert Meyers Burnett.
I know Rob Burnett. I don't know.
He's a brilliant guy. Also a student of film. He's a brilliant guy. He has his own channel. He has his own channel, but you see him oftentimes on John Campia's show, daily show. Right. And he says this term. Can you say it again?
Verisimilitude.
I never understood what that meant.
It meant,
and now you just helped me. It means authenticity, realism.
So Ned Beatty, my dad, was the Northeast Regional Advisor for the National Association of Retarded Citizens. So I grew up among the mentally ill and the mentally retarded, the trainably mentally retarded, which is basically Forrest Gump, which is great. So we always got along with them great. But I saw Ned Beatty and I said, that person that human that Ned, because Ned is a great actor who I admire enormously, is not any sort of actual human being on this planet. Nobody acts the way Otis does. And so I was crushed by this. I was said, this isn't realistic. This ruins. So where do I go? I go to the offices of Marvel Comics because I had already worked a little bit with Marvel. I had written the Incredible Hulk novel for Pocket Books. And I was very good friends with Larry Hama, who became the creator of the G.I. Joe world for Marvel and has appeared in several G.I. Joe movies. And I'm in his office complaining bitterly about this omission. I said, why can't American studios make comic book movies that don't talk down to us, that don't treat us like kids? And he literally said, let's go. He said, and we left his office. It was like noon on a weekday. And he brought me down to Greenwich Village in New York at the Bleecker Street Cinema. And they were showing a double feature of Lightning Swords of Death and Baby Cart in the Land of Demons.
Okay.
Now I had seen Seven Samurai. By the way, when I was hired to teach the Kung Fu Panda crew about Kung Fu, the first question I asked them was, "Have you seen any Kung Fu movies?" And they went, "Yeah, we saw Seven Samurai." And I said, "Look, you're making a baseball movie. You're watching football films.
Right.
That's not going to help you." But and be that as it may, so I had seen Seven Samurai, but that's an art film. Baby Cart in the Land of Demons is still my favorite Chambara samurai film. That was the manga come to life because that was a comic book movie because it's based on a manga, which they turned into a live action. It was just, I was like, my jaw hit the ground. I couldn't believe it. I was just, my fingers were vibrating. But Larry said, we're not done. And after a double feature in the afternoon, we went directly from there to Chinatown, New York. And there at the Canal Street Cinema, they were showing a double feature of an older Kung Fu movie called Goose Boxer.
Oh, yeah.
And a brand new Kung Fu movie called Drunken Monkey in a Tiger's Eye, which is the Chinese title of Drunken Master.
Yes.
The original Drunken Master, 1978. And again, I thought Baby Cart in the Land of Demons stunned me. I did a Tex Avery Bugs Bunny inside of this movie. By the way, I'm the one Guaylo. I didn't know that word at that time. I was the one white boy in that theater. Everybody else, there were a couple of blacks, but for the most part, it was all Asians. And it was like, I'm like, my eyes got this big. They bulged all the way out. My jaw hit the floor. My tongue rolled out.
Yeah.
And what was great is that there were 6 movie theaters in Chinatown that every single week showed a different new double feature of different genres of Hong Kong film. They were all Hong Kong films. And every single movie always had a little giveaway, had a little sheet with all the background. It was all in Chinese, but I didn't care. It also had pictures. And by that time, I had a variety of publishers, but only one publisher I had an office in New York. The rest were in California because we were doing films. And I took this brochure and I came in and I said, I want to do a book on these. And they took a look at the stuff and they went, here's $750, go ahead.
Wow.
And that's what led up to the first martial art movie book. But again, I was ignorant. All I saw these movies this is the one that was produced. And these guys, I had helpers who actually didn't contribute much to the book, but I wanted to give them some help. Oh, by the way, inside you can see some of the autographs I've gotten, including there's
the man
and John Woo and all the rest of it. So what happened was they gave, so here's $750. So then I had to go to work, and that was a matter. So for the next I don't know, 6 months to a year. Every single week I'm in Chinatown. Every single week I'm seeing 4 movies. Two different, because I would go from theater to theater. They didn't have all the same films. There
Mm-hmm.
was one theater that showed Chinese movies, one theater
Mm-hmm.
that showed Shaw Brothers movies, one theater that showed Golden Harvest movie, one theater that showed the independent seasonal films and stuff like that. And I'd see everyone. I would be taking notes, and I would meet people whenever I'd see another white person in the audience. I'd go and go, "How long have you been seeing these? What do you have to say about that?" And I'd start meeting all these people and taking all this research down and learning stuff about. And by then, I found out that, I don't know, drive-in movie, which was also a New York syndicated show that showed a different Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movie every week, dubbed on the local station. It was called Drive-In Movie in New York, but what was it called elsewhere? It was called some Black Belt Theater.
Ah,
It was Black Belt Theater. And again, they got it wrong. There's no belts in Kung Fu.
correct.
And they just did that fake Kung Fu
Mm-hmm.
that all the teachers were doing, the karate teachers and judo, well, mostly karate teachers and taekwondo teachers. And of course, taekwondo isn't even Chinese or Japanese. It's Korean, but it is actually Japanese because.
But they're counting on the ignorance of American audiences.
Well,
to
no,
not
they're
think it-
ignorant, just like me. You see, that's the point I was trying to make. I was ignorant too. I was taking this stuff as, these are great movies. There's so much fun. They're moving around and they're swinging through the air and they're kicking. I didn't know the difference between wushu and wuxia. I didn't know the difference between martial arts and kung fu. It wasn't until years later. And like I would say, I worked for Inside Kung Fu magazine for 30 years. I came on as their movie columnist.
And I'm glad you. And I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off, man.
You have to cut me off. You
I
can
could
tell
listen
already. I'll
to
just
you.
keep going.
No. I could listen to you for hours. This is
And you will
fantastic.
be.
And I actually, that's one of my questions.
Yes.
If I could jump to that question, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Oh, not
How
at
did
all.
you get your start in Inside Kung Fu? I mean, when I was growing up, every last one of us had at least one copy of one month. I had a couple of friends who had like every month collected. I couldn't afford that, but
Well, do the math.
how did you get there? How did you
Well-
wind up there?
Well, you can already guess on the basis of how I got onto Starlog. In other words, Inside Kung Fu ceased publication in 2011.
Right.
Go back 30 years. What year is that? So 2011, what is that? 1991, 1980, something like, I can't remember what 30 years is. But basically, this book came out
81.
in 80. There you go. This book came out, this book came out in 1985. And I had already been researching, and I had all these wonderful pictures of me with Jackie Chan and everybody at Jackie Chan's birthday party. I worked on a television special for England. I got Jonathan Ross to do the special on Jackie Chan. So when it was Inside Kung Fu time, I wrote them a letter because they're out in California. I'm on the East Coast, and I said, "What can I do for you?" And by then they went, "Well, we're losing our movie columnist. Would you like to be our movie columnist? And in the meantime, until we lose the columnist, would you like to do articles for us?"
Wow.
And I would go, "Yes, please." And so again, what can I do for you? And I already had a background. I saw every book I wrote, not as a book. Whenever I would get a book, I'd take the book and then I'd put it on its side. And I would think of each one of these as a step. The more books I got, the higher I got. And the more I could walk into offices and go, "Hi, I was helping, I know the guy who produces the Incredible Hulk television show. And also I worked in comic books and I worked in books and I've written novels and all this, that, and the other thing. And I've consulted on television shows and I've won awards for this, that, and the other thing. And that's what I had been doing by then. I mean, you could chart 1974 comic books, 1977 the first novel, 1976 first 4 nonfiction books, then on to consulting for TV shows and all. I had all this stuff ready to say, what can I do for you?
Mm.
And again, I guess the timing was good because I said, what can I do to you for you? And they go, well, we need somebody to write the Incredible Hulk novel because we've had comic book writers doing these other Marvel novels, and they basically just write a comic book in words. Because what I also discovered was that having started in comic books, moving on to nonfiction books, moving on to novels, is that every form is different. Movie scripters can try to write books, and they'll basically just be writing a movie in with words, and it won't work as a novel. And I've taught screenwriters how to write for that format. So I'm now, and I was very lucky because I started in comics. In that, comics are the single most difficult format to do well. It's easy to do okay, but to do it well, it's very difficult. Because
Why?
think of
Why is that?
because when I write a book, this is all I have to do. I just have to fill the pages with words.
Mhm.
And basically, this book is basically me talking to you. What I do to you, I do here. Because
Okay.
I don't write in anybody's voice but my own. And I don't write for anybody but myself because I
Okay.
can't read anybody else's mind. I can only read my own. That's the problem with movies, that they're trying to make movies for people they don't know. And they keep saying, the audience wants this, the audience wants that. And I always go, no, you want that. And you're putting it on the audience. Orson Welles said many years ago, Hollywood is not about money. It has always been and always will be about ego. So be that as it may. And I learned that the hard way when I went to work in Hollywood. But be that as it may. So in any case, yeah, but I digress.
Hmm.
I forgot the main point I was getting to.
Well, we were talking about how you wound up at Inside.
Wound up. Yeah, that's how I wound up at Inside Kung Fu. What can I do for you? And they needed somebody to take over. They needed somebody to write articles who also loved this stuff. Specifically, I became entertainment editor before I became columnist. I had a column there called Martial Arts in Movies, and if you take the initials, it spells out MAIM. Little cute joke, hidden joke. MAIM. And so before I did that, I did articles, I did interviews with Jackie, I did interviews with Chow Yun-fat, I did interviews with everybody I could get. And they loved me and they paid me, not a lot, but it was the best. It was the best passport I could possibly get.
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Who obviously the landscape has changed when it comes to how we receive our information, how we get interviews and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So our channel is still, in my opinion, still in its infancy, but we have a huge following. A lot of people like what we're doing here at the channel.
I know.
And one of the things that I always said that I would love to do and bring to the channel.
Yeah.
And this is an honest question. I'm not. This is not. I want to preface this. If you're probably thinking, don't filibuster, just ask it. But
hey,
because I know sometimes when people,
if I can filibuster, you can. Go
ahead.
No,
but because I would love to off camera talk to you about a young lady who I met who claimed she had connections, and it turns out that she didn't. And what I want to ask you is this: how does a young person such as myself, who's in this business, who genuinely loves these actors, and as we're losing so many of them quickly, I hate to use this phrase, but get my hands on them. I so badly want to interview some of them. I would love to sit in front of Lo Mang or Hwang John Lee or Brian Lung and some of these people. And I get it. Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen, those guys, that's big time.
Those guys are big time too.
Yeah. But I feel like Beardy is big time, and he's still with
us. He is incredible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all them. And Hwang John Lee, in my opinion, one of the best kickers to ever do it, right?
Sure.
And so would love to sit with him, even if it was for 10 minutes. So as I said, the landscape has changed. How would you suggest? Because I last night I spent time Googling, I was like, I was like, Brian Lung's management. I would Google this way. Nothing would turn up. How do I get in touch with Brian Lung? Google, nothing. Like, how do you know, just as an example, how would you suggest that someone like myself, who also is over here in the States, how do I contact these people? How do I reach them so that I would like love to get an interview with one of them? I have so many questions in my mind and I would love to, you know, I again met this young lady who claimed to have all these connections that it turns out she actually didn't. And you know, I was let down by that. And so now as someone again who I don't have a booker per se, or someone who, you know, has those.
You have a YouTube channel with 250,000 followers. Do not put yourself down. That is much better than having books at this point. But at this point, ask your question.
You were telling
I told
us
you how to get into Inside Kung Fu, right? And so, but basically, writing the first book was my ticket to ride, because the same thing, to go back to your question, is that when this Black Belt Theater drive-in movie, which was showing the Shaw Brothers movies throughout America and Hawaii, I found out they had offices in New York. And it was right across the street from Grand Central Station, where I got off the train. And so again, guess what I did? I walked up to the offices and said, "Hi, I have a contract to write a book on these movies that you're showing." And they went, I can't remember whether they literally did it, but I think they certainly figuratively did it. They fell to their knees and kissed my ring because they wanted promotion. They were risking everything because, of course, America is wildly racist, as you probably will know. And way back then, which was 1978, 79, 1980, even more racist. So they were going to show all these chink movies to America. So all the stations were going, "Oh, this will never go. People don't want." I was in the elevator at the New York Film Festival with Jackie Chan and a producer from a major studio who said, "No American audience will ever accept a Chinese hero." And then I looked at Jackie looked at me, Jackie looked at his producer looked at him, and we all looked at this executive producer, and we said, "What about Bruce Lee?" And guess what he said?
What did he say?
One of my favorite, I've heard this at Hollywood cocktail parties since then. Oh, here we go. "Oh, he was the exception."
I knew you were going to say that.
Because that's what they always say.
He's an outlier.
They always say.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
It was all about, I mean, hey, I had to deal with Harvey Weinstein. So, you know, by then I knew all the lines. And I've had some astonishing things said to me by people who couldn't give a shit that they're sexist and racist and all the rest of it. But as it may. But the guys at World Northall, that's what the company was called before it became WW Entertainment, fell to their knees, kissed my ring. They said, "Anything you want, anything you want." And they had files and files and files of photos. Almost all the photos in this book came from the offices of World Northall. World Northall had all these movies. And, you know, they would, that's, again, we're in the Jackie Chan section. That's Jackie gave me all those pictures. But World Northall pretty much gave me all these pictures. And so I'm writing this book, and when you do someone a favor, if they're nice people, they'll want to do nice things for you too. So what happened with World Northall is good. You're doing all this stuff for us, and I'm sort of like going, "Oh no, you're doing all this stuff for me." And they went, "What can we do for you? What can we do for you?" And I sort of went, "Well, send me to Hong Kong." And they went, "Okay." And not only that, but they also said, "We can set up meetings with you." And I said, "That would be nice." And they set up a meeting at Golden Harvest Studios because Shaw Brothers was. They got me onto the Shaw. No, they didn't. I'm sorry, they didn't get me on the Shaw Brothers lot. When I tell you again, I think back on this. It's just like so kismet. They put me on a plane, and because of their connections, they got me in business class. Okay. So I get on business class, and also on Japan Airlines.
Wow.
So their business class is better than American business class. And I learned very quickly, don't go on American Airlines. Don't go on, not just American Airlines, but any American airline. Always try to go to the foreign carriers, especially the Asian ones. Taiwan. Basically. But it'd be better than me.
They treat you better.
So it's an off-time flight, which I understand because they want to get the cheapest price, but even getting me because they have all sorts of flight miles. So that's how I got into business. But there was only one other person in business, and he was sitting in the back row, and I'm in the front row of business. And I turn around, and I am astonished to see that the other person in business class is Kwon Tak Hing.
What?
Who was the greatest screen Wong Fei Hong until Jackie Chan. And it was like,
I still have him.
Back there.
Rick, I actually still have him over Jackie as my favorite Wong Fei Hong.
Not from he's a great Wong Fei Hong, absolutely no question. But his kung fu is not even close.
Oh no! Oh no!
His kung fu is not even close.
No, not at all.
Jackie is the greatest kung fu guy because he's the one who spread Wong Fei Hong into doing it not Bruce Lee style, doing it Jackie Chan style, which we're going to get to in a second, or not a second for me, it's an hour. But the difference between what Jackie Chan did and what Bruce Lee did. Bruce Lee would have done what Jackie Chan did, but he died before he could. He was already.
So? You think
absolutely. If you saw, I can swear, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you see what Bruce was, not what the stupid American producers did to what Bruce was doing at the end of his life. You look at Circle of Iron. You look at all the stuff he was working on. He was moving up. His father was a Tai Chi student. And so he knew the difference, but he wanted to break out, and he knew he needed to have to break out in a big way, which was again the fists and the power and all that shit. But he knew about internal power. He knew about the soft powering the hard, because you could not grow up in Hong Kong without seeing all those Kwon Tak Hing movies, which we didn't get to see. And all of those were about the soft powering the hard.
Sure.
It was about chi. He knew, as I learned not until 2001, that muscles, anger, and fists can never beat internal energy, chi, and for the want of a better word, compassion, and caring and sympathy. When you use your inner energy rather than your anger and your muscles and your fists, you use your open hand, your inner energy, you are far more powerful. I can tell you stories. Again, a quick story. I threw a 250-pound, 25-year-old football player across the room without even knowing it, by using my chi. Chi and empathy are far more powerful than anger and fist. But America likes anger and fists. And that's what Bruce had to sell first. But he died a month before he came here. Be that as it may, Jackie Chan didn't die. So when you look at one of the great things about this, is what changed it. When I saw Drunken Master, we have to go all the way back to that story. When in Chinatown in 1978, the week it premiered, and I went boing and I said, I want to write a book on this. I noticed subconsciously, it wasn't until years later, because I thought, before I went to this movie, I went to every martial arts school I could get to try to find Kung Fu. I went to the Philadelphia Judo Club. And again, they did awesome stuff, really amazing stuff. But then I noticed that every major student in the class had either partial or no use of a major joint. because that's judo. It's joint based. And when you're dealing with Americans, and again, every single school I went to, sparring, 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 sparring. Because sparring is shorthand for the teacher not knowing enough about his subject, having limited knowledge. This way, you get the other guys to fight each other.
You are saying something right now. Oh my! Oh man, we got to talk off camera. There's a martial artist. There's a guy who owns a martial arts studio in Chicago. A lot of them. Yeah. This gentleman is a student. He claims that he's a student of Bruce Lee. Jeet Kune Do is what he teaches at his school, and all I ever see him doing is beating up his students
because he wants to make a living.
Yes,
but that's it. But
yes. My goodness. Okay, please continue. Sorry.
Anyway,
sorry.
So back then, so I went to judo, I went to karate, and again, the moment I was immediately paired up with another student, and our first task was to punch each other, and then the other student would block. That was the exercise: punch, block, and again, I was just like, why are you blocking? And also, I did the punch because all I did with her, because I frustrated her because she would do the punch and I'm supposed to block it. But I did what I did to that bully many years before, which was whenever she punched, I moved back. My attitude is, I don't want you to punch me in the face. Why would I want you to punch me in the arm? Because that hurts too. Yep. Not as much as the one in the face, but still it hurts. So yeah, if I don't have to, I ain't going to do it. And also, and then I did this. My other thing is that when she compensated, when I moved back, she compensated by going farther. So I did this. I turned my head. And so she missed. And she goes, that's not the way you do it. That's not the way you do it. I said, that's the way I do it. She goes, okay. And I say, okay, you punch me. So I punched, but I didn't punch at her arm because all the other students were punching at the arm because that was the exercise. Punch, block, punch, block. And so I punched her at her face. And she went, no. You're doing it wrong. And she took my fist and moved it over. And I went, okay, I'm not going to this school either. Then I went to Taekwondo, and immediately I saw the anchored leg, the famous Taekwondo anchored leg. I said, I'm not going here either. Then finally I found a Kung Fu place, but they were doing the Wanderer's style. And it was very important to them that I do a split because they could do a split. So it was a Van Damme school because all Van Damme does is splits. He doesn't know how to do martial arts. You can tell by the way he behaves.
Can you hold on 1 second? Can you hold on one quick second? The views of Ric Meyers are not necessarily the views of Lone Wolf and Cub.
Be that as it may. But again, there's the LK people, limited knowledge people. But what happened to me is that I wanted to do what I didn't want to do what Bruce Lee did. I wanted to do what Jackie Chan did because he would avoid the fight as much as he could until he was forced into fighting. And then he fought in a way with open hands to move things, to try not to hurt his attacker. You can watch this in most of his movies, even to this very day. And there's a new movie called Forbidden Kingdom, which we reviewed on That Fat Samurai Guy's channel on my monthly action film autopsy.
You talking about Forbidden Kingdom with Jet Li?
No, that's a terrible movie.
I hate that movie. Yeah.
That was the Weinsteins trying to sabotage again. But no, this was Forbidden City. It's an Italian film with a young lady, and she has this major fight in a Chinese restaurant kitchen where you watch her. She doesn't use a fist once, and she doesn't use her. She uses something else because she's a woman. She's not going to hurt herself. Right. So that's what I was looking for, and I was been looking for it for years and years, and finally I gave up after the blocking thing and said, I'm going to study martial arts. I'm going to understand that martial arts is martial arts. It is not what I and Jackie and others consider Kung Fu.
Sure.
It's what Americans think Kung Fu is.
Sure.
Because they think, many of the people I've met think that Kung Fu is translated to martial arts.
Right.
It's not.
It's not.
Wushu is translated to martial arts.
That's
Kung Fu, join Jet Li's TikTok. He's just got out on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw that.
He defines it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I met Jet Li, again, we were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what Americans think. He goes, no. His definition at that time, in this book, we define Kung Fu as human achievement, not as fighting. It is certainly not fighting. Kung Fu, at its basis, is at least 6 things. Martial arts is one thing, fighting. Certain teachers will add things to it again to try to get more students, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, they teach fighting. I'm not interested in fighting. I'm interested in health. I'm interested in self-defense, inner health and all the rest, which is also outer health, and my style of Kung Fu. And so human achievement, Jet defines it as concerted effort toward a specific goal, because he is also right that great ballet people are doing Kung Fu. Great chefs are doing Kung Fu. That is their Kung Fu, their human achievement. But
I have these arguments, if you don't mind. I'll interject this quickly. I have these arguments about this because people, sometimes, as you can imagine, when you have a channel such as ours, we get a lot of experts on the film, and sometimes they on film, and they sometimes they imprint or wish to impress upon you who is the actual martial artist and who is not, who's doing the Fu and who is not. And oftentimes I get these things like, for example, someone will say someone such as Cara Hugh, right?
Cara Hoy, who's very good. We're very good friends. I can show you all the pictures of me with her.
Really?
My young auntie.
I mad crush on her even to this day.
She is awesome.
Mrs. Wolf told me that's the one woman I'm allowed to cheat on her with.
That's the one.
And so,
that's your freebie.
By my estimation, in my own personal opinion, I think she is a fabulous martial artist.
She is.
But often
she's not a fabulous martial artist. She's a fabulous Kung Fu artist.
Okay, correct. Okay. And what happens is that people will jump on me. Oh, she doesn't know martial arts. She's just a dancer, and she studied ballet and performance art and this and that.
They're talking about Michelle Yeoh.
I'm sorry, say again.
They're talking about Michelle Yeoh. Anita.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Cara Hoy.
Do you subscribe to that? Do you believe that about Michelle Yeoh?
I know, and again, I will send you all the pictures of me with Michelle Yeoh and Cara Hoy and all these rest of these people. We have had talks, and also I know more about Kung Fu than these people do. They know martial arts. Okay. And yes, Cara Hoy was trained by one of the greatest teachers of Kung Fu of all time, La Caillon. He brought her in. She was an actress in the Shaw Brothers studio, and he made her a Kung Fu artist. That's the difference. She's not a Kung Fu fighter.
Got it.
She is a Kung Fu artist.
Yes.
And she can do, and you don't, and anybody who wants to throw a punch at her, God bless you. Because she's not going to hurt you. She's going to avoid being hurt herself. But there's my two favorite Kung Fu defenses is, of course, the hands are always up. And the hands are up for this reason. If this person wants to hurt me, of course, if this person wants to hurt me, that means there's something wrong with them. Because look, I'm an old man. I'm Kung Fu Santa. You want to hurt Kung Fu Santa? Okay. That says something more about you than it ever says about me. But my hands will always be up, and my feet will be in the right position. In my balanced position, I will be anchored. I will be rooted. And, and I'll have my hands up, and then I will lean in and go, you seem upset. Can I buy you a beer? And if you don't want the beer, okay, the hands are ready, the legs are ready. I will move your fist out of my way. I will let you hurt yourself. Because my greatest Tai Chi teacher said, if someone wants to hurt themselves by trying to hurt you, you as an advanced Kung Fu student will help. You will help them hurt themselves. Because I got news for all you guys out there who want to be badass and want to show how tough you are and will take the punch to show how tough you are. I can assure you there are many, many places on the human body where all you have to do is this. That's all you have to do. And I've seen my Tai Chi teacher, again, made somebody in class go down like a felled tree and writhe on the ground in pain by placing their foot on a certain point on their shin.
Mm.
That's why my only books in my classes is a book on human psychology and a book on human physiology.
Mm.
But be that as it may, if you're willing to go beyond trying to prove that you're a badass to yourself and others,
Mm-hmm.
then you can actually learn how to be healthy, be happy, and accomplish something and be nice.
Yeah.
So in any case, Kara Hoy knows far more about Kung Fu than you ever will. And Michelle Yeoh does now too, because again, she is what is known in the business as a natural. It's in the book. When we were meeting, because first time I met her is the night before she was going to go to the Tomorrow Never Dies set. And we had a long talk. And in the book, I'm quoting her constantly. She's doing Righting Wrongs with Cynthia Rothrock. And she has to do a stunt that has already wounded 2 stuntmen. And she just does it. Because she doesn't know why she couldn't, because she did have a background in being a model and being a dancer. But as most Kung Fu students, not martial arts students, not martial art teachers, Kung Fu teachers, Jackie will tell this constantly. He does not want a martial arts student in his movies because they're stiff. They have, it's ingrained. They're not adaptable. If there's one thing that Jackie is, fluid.
Yes.
Always fluid.
Yes.
He's able to move. Martial arts is Kung Fu is always fluid. And so, human achievement, kids. It's not fighting.
Because of this conversation, you're gonna get someone to come up and challenge me. It's already happened a couple of times.
Well, it's happened to me.
I'm gonna pivot us back to while respecting this conversation, and I think we should, and I absolutely think we should have more of these types of conversations.
But let me tell you what I do.
Yes.
If they want to punch me, I will say, okay, of course you can punch me. I'm not going to defend myself, but let me tell you what's going to happen. I already know enough that I'm going to move just enough, because I was taught this by my Tai Chi teacher as well. I'm going to move just enough, because this was great. My Tai Chi teacher would have every student in the class come up and punch him in the face. But he would always move just enough so they thought they had connected. But he would move just enough that they don't connect. They would just sort of place their fist on his chin, and he would go, fine. And I said, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to call the cops. And then I'm going to call my lawyer. And I'll see you in court. That is the best defense. That is much better than having you hit me on the arm. I'm going to use my brain because I'm an old man with a beard. I'm not interested in fighting with anybody.
He's Kung Fu
for
Santa.
any reason. I'm not trying to prove myself to anybody.
Yeah, I tell people, hey man, I'm no tough guy, man.
Let me give you a gift. I'm Kung Fu Santa. I'll give you a gift.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how I met all these people. That's how I met them. That's how you can meet them, because you have this channel and you care and you want to learn. And I'm going to introduce you to people who make those connections quickly, because my greatest tragedy, I've always wanted to interview La Ka Young, and I got so close so many times. I met La Ka Hoy, I met all the actors, I met Lo Mong, and I've talked to him, and he signed posters for me, but I never got to interview him until the opportunity I got when I was doing the Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie, which is still on Tubi.
Oh yeah,
he had just died, and I went,
wow.
I missed it.
And that's where I'm at right now. Like, before we lose anymore, I really need to. I have some questions.
I'll take care of it. Let's get back to my story.
Right. Let me hit you with some questions, because I have some stuff written down.
Yeah, you can try to hit me. I'll dodge you.
All right.
Go for it.
Here we go. In your view,
yes,
what distinguishes martial arts films from the other action genres?
At this point in time, not much, because of the awesome Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves basically was able to. We've had a bunch of Thai movies, Korean movies. I'm forgetting the country I'm missing, but mostly Thai movies, which was bridging the gap between Western action films and Eastern action films, because Thai boxing is martial arts. It's not kung fu.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the Silat is martial arts. It's not
Mm-hmm.
kung fu.
Correct.
And what was great is guys like Keanu Reeves would see that and go, I wanted that sort of stuff. So John Wick comes along, and John
Mm-hmm.
Wick changes the way action films are made now, and also uh, the sexism and racism is not as rampant now as it used to be, because that was another thing. Like I said in the elevator with Jackie Chan, where he said Americans will never accept, so we had, I would say, because I worked out in Hollywood for a year and a half, at that time, and I still think it's true, 75% of the producers are venal backstabbing a-holes, while 25% are geniuses and are trying to make good stuff. So, but the 75% want to hurt people, want to ruin people's lives. So they will promise that they will do the movie for this guy, but then they will sabotage them. If you look at the G.I. Joe movies, Larry Hama is a great martial arts guy, but the editing of the martial art fights in the G.I. Joe movies are sabotaged, clearly sabotaged by producers in the editing room, which is one of their techniques. And also the way they treat women, the way they treat minorities is just shameful. And I seen them in action because I was working with big producers when I was working out in Hollywood, and they knew that I wanted to learn all this stuff, and they would bring me to cocktail parties. Hollywood cocktail parties are some of the most frightening, venal, vicious, horrible things you can go to, because all these producers are honest. I could tell you a story that uses the N-word, which was like sort of like,
Please don't.
I know. And I just sort of went, I looked at the big time producer who brought me there, and I looked at him after this other, my friend was one of the 25%. This guy we were talking to was one of 75%. And I went, and then I looked at my friend, my 25%er, and he looked at me and he went, see, this is what we're dealing with.
Okay.
But Keanu Reeves is a great guy. And Keanu Reeves surrounded himself with great guy and would only work because he wasn't trying to prove himself. He had his heart in the right place. Guys like Johnny Depp, they're constantly trying to, they're insecure. And again, all the actors, 75%, insecure and want to prove themselves. With 25%, guys just want to make something good. So Keanu Reeves came and surrounded himself with all these people. And you notice that his directors are ex-stunt people.
Yes.
So they're trying to do good stuff too. And they're trying to break the habits that Hollywood forces on them. And you have to have final cut. So be that as it may. So now martial arts, there's so many good martial art movies now, but they're martial arts. They're not kung fu. And also China, the force that burned the Shaolin Temple. The Shaolin Temple has been burned like half a dozen times throughout history. Half of those times was done by the Chinese government. Because it's logical. The Chinese government doesn't need 3 billion people with an open mind. They need 3 billion people who follow orders, who do all the same thing at the same time in unison. So they said they don't want them doing, the great Wu Jing did Wolf Warrior 2, which was one of the biggest, the best, most successful financially in Chinese history. And he announced Wolf Warrior 3, and the Chinese government goes, nope. Because your character is an individual who's doing it all himself. We need team players. We need team players. So now watch Wu Jing now. See, Blades of the Guardians, which is the first martial art movie, wushu movie.
I missed it at the theaters. Missed it.
That's the company I work with. That's Welco USA. We've been working together for many, many years. So I got screenings for it and all the rest of it.
Yeah, they just. I actually spoke to Linda. She sent me an email because I told her Life or Leaf, Lief is her last name.
Oh, you Leaf Holland. Sure.
Yeah, Leaf Holland. Thank you.
Yeah,
and she because she's been
get you on
reaching
the
out
list.
to me. She's been sending me a lot of screeners lately.
Yeah,
and I told her, well, these are not like these types of movies are not the movies that we typically review on our channel.
Right.
We're more martial arts centric. And she said, okay, I will keep that in mind moving forward. So she started sending me the new screeners she's sending me are more martial arts. And
Yeah.
I'm anticipating that when the
Oh yeah.
time comes, she'll send me a copy.
Yeah, there's a limited amount. You know, if
Yeah.
you subscribe to
I am. I'm looking at it right here on my
yeah,
screen.
they have stuff like that. They do. So what Chinese, for a while, the Chinese government, the Chinese Film Bureau wouldn't let them do anything even approaching Kung Fu, just Wushu. However, now they're doing this lovely amalgamation, which I called Wushu Sha. It's a combination of Wushu and Wusha. Wushu Sha. Okay. And basically, if you watch if you subscribe to the Haya streaming service, you can watch the Kill or Be Killed movies about the blind swordsman. You can watch Zi Mao, who used to work with Jet Li and is now a big star there and is a great martial artist, and Andy On and all these guys. But basically, these are all Wushu Sha movies. They're not Kung Fu movies. I'm trying to think of the last Kung Fu movie I saw. Probably was a Vincent Zhao movie. Or even
True Legend?
Could have been, True Legend. Again, you watch True Legend and you watch
I love that
Zhao,
movie.
And
it doesn't get enough.
Oh, yeah. It's just like the woman in Forbidden City. They don't use their fists. If they don't use their fists, they're doing Kung Fu. But everybody else, is using their fists and all the rest of it. But be that as it may. So at this point, we are in really good shape for martial arts in this country. There's so many good ones, not great ones, but I prefer, again, somebody trying to be healthy, trying to not to hurt others. And Jackie is so revered in China that the Chinese government still lets him do it. But they have an understanding. Just do it once a movie. Just do it once. Don't do it every single fight scene. So Jackie is spreading out, but he still has that mentality. Next question.
Okay, great. In your opinion, what impact did Bruce Lee have on martial arts and martial arts cinema?
Boom. Without Bruce Lee, there is none. Without Bruce Lee, because he proved himself once he was already dead, and the American producers couldn't stop him because he had those 3 movies. Look what happened to what's that awful last one, The Game of Death. Look what happened. If he had let them, the American producers would have done that to all his movies. Game of Death is a piece of
I'm not a fan. There's a couple of fights that I like, but as a movie as a whole, no.
But it's awful. This is what Hollywood would have done to all his films if he had not surprised them. Because in other words, his films got here without we had the wonderful Fred Weintraub, who, did a lot of interviews for my first book. And he told me all these wonderful stories. And they protected Bruce. And they made sure that the movie came out the way Bruce wanted it.
Okay.
And they released it. And Warner Brothers. So again, since Bruce died, they couldn't do anything about Fist of Fury. They couldn't do anything about The Big Boss. But they could do something about Game of Death. And they did. They emasculated that. They ruined it. Because if you saw the original script, and he had the entire movie was already planned out. The co-stars were already hired. He had, I think, 90 minutes of footage, which they reduced down to like 15 minutes of crap and faked heads. So that's what Hollywood would have done to them, but they couldn't stop the first 3. And the first 3, everybody reacted to. And,
those are probably my favorite. Those are my favorite.
Of course. And had he lived, he would have. The greatest tragedy is that he died a month before he could have changed the world. Yeah. And for decades and decades and decades, Hollywood kept him down. No American audience will ever accept a Chinese hero. So okay. Bruce Lee was, and will always be the man.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna veer. I want to veer because
whatever you want to do.
In my, there are so many questions I want to ask you.
I'm here for
of the night, in my opinion, and you probably will disagree. In my opinion, for me, it has a very special spot. This particular era for me, as far as the films that I watch, the films that I always show to Cub. 1977 to 1982, right in there is kind of my sweet spot.
It's
It's kind
everybody's
of
sweet
my,
spot.
it's some of my favorite Gordon Liu movies are in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Venom's Mobs is in there.
Oh yeah.
There's some movies I, I, I get people get on me for calling them B movies, but I just call them B movies because there weren't huge studios that were behind them, like your Lee So-nam type
Mhm.
movies. Those movies are some of my favorite movies.
You show good taste, Padawan, because
Give me
if you look at
yes,
my book
yes,
and the list in the back,
uh-huh.
I completely agree with you.
Hmm.
From 1978 to 1992
Ah,
is the beginning and the end of the golden age of kung fu films,
okay,
without
okay.
question. A lot of people might say that it was 1997 when Hong Kong went back to the Chinese government. But
Hmm.
I know because I was there with
Hmm.
all these guys that they were already. I mean, Jet Li, everybody, Jackie, Jet, all the other guys were on their way out by 1992 because nobody knew what was going to happen in 1997. So what happened is Yun Biao moved to Canada. All
Mm,
these guys, Jet Li, moved somewhere else. Everybody
mm,
moved because they didn't know what was going to happen. And considering the way the Chinese were acting before this, they
hmm,
were expecting the worst, hoping for the best because they were
hmm,
Chinese. They're
hmm,
100% Chinese. They wanted Mother China to be good and to follow the precepts of kung fu, but they weren't sure they were going to because
mm,
they needed to control their 3 billion people.
mm.
And so I don't blame them. But so from 1997 on to fairly recently, they did emasculate the film business, and
Okay.
and everybody went to Canada and everybody went to America. Jet Li and Jackie Chan made their American
Mm,
films until they
okay.
felt it was safe to come back. But Padawan, you're absolutely correct. That is the golden age.
Okay.
Those are the finest, pure, elevated, real kung fu movies ever made.
Okay. Give me three. Give me
Okay.
three that are let's
Well,
pretend that I have never watched a kung fu movie, and from that era is the era from which you wish to pluck to sit me down on a Saturday afternoon and
right.
say, Padwan, I'm gonna show you three of the greatest kung fu films. Give me three.
Now remember, as I say, these are not the best. These are my favorites.
Absolutely.
I live
Absolutely.
inside here. I
That's right.
can't read your mind,
That's
but I
right.
can read my mind.
Movies are subjective.
And
Everyone has a
also,
different.
when I discovered real kung fu in Taiwan in 2001,
Hmm.
because again, I was going to say that's why I wound up writing this book and not
Sure.
another martial art movie book, because I
Hmm.
realized I didn't know what kung fu movies were. I
Hmm.
thought they were operas combined with ballet. I didn't
Mm.
understand them from a
Right.
Chinese standpoint. But it
Right. Right.
wasn't until I was invited to Taiwan by the Taiwanese government to
Hmm.
meet every kung fu teacher and visit every kung fu school in
Hmm.
Taiwan. Because remember, this is Taiwan. This is what
Hmm.
China would be like if it were free,
Right.
if it wasn't communist.
Correct.
So even the kung fu, I visited the Shaolin Temple in China.
Mm.
That's not kung fu. That
Hmm.
is the wushu sha.
Hmm.
Kung fu is in Taiwan
Mm.
because they're free, they're
Mm.
open minded. So,
Mm.
in any case, so
Mm.
once I learned what Kung Fu was and understood what Le Cha Yang was doing,
Mhm.
then I went, oh, and it was like the movies became 3D to me.
Mhm.
Up until
Mhm.
then, they were 2D. And everybody was dancing around and doing all this great stuff,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
didn't understand what was underneath it all.
Sure.
What was powering it?
Sure.
I thought it was muscles and anger
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
fists.
Right.
Now, then I found out in 2001, ooh, no. So then I went back and watched everything, and everything was suddenly in 3 and
Mm.
4D.
Mhm.
So, trying to get three, this is going to be fun because normally I would say Drunken Master, but now I'm
Mm.
going to, because I have to include Jackie in somewhere. So
Okay.
I'm going to say Drunken Master 2.
Ah.
And then I'm
Uh.
going,
I
yeah.
actually. I can't believe him. Well, I'm gonna say I actually put Drunken Master 2 ahead of Drunken Master 1.
So do I.
Yeah, I love Drunken Master 1. I love the first one.
No question it was
In fact,
first.
I love that one, and I also love Dance of the Drunk Mantis, which is the actual sequel to it, right?
Yeah.
Uh
Well, sort
but
of, yeah.
I put Drunken Master 2 ahead of it.
Well, yeah. but that's because
fantastic.
the lesson is that both Jet Li and Jackie Chan and every great kung fu person learns from film to film. That's
Sure.
why I'm also going
Sure.
to say Once Upon a Time in China 2. Not 1,
I've got
2.
my two dolls. I have my two hot toys over here.
Yep.
I've got Jet Li and I have Jet Li and Donnie Yen.
Yep.
I haven't put them out yet. I had to figure out where I'm going to put them. I want to set them up in a diorama style.
Now,
yes, absolutely.
This next one is the biggest problem.
Okay.
Because I, of course, have to do those. We have those. We have Jackie. We have Jet. But as I keep on doing on the internet, every time somebody on Facebook says, "Here's the best kung fu people of all time," my reply is invariably, because they always leave him out, where is La Ka Young? Where's La Ka Young? And by the way, all these other guys,
as a practitioner
Yeah.
or as a director, because he does both. And
All
me,
of it.
he's on my Mount Rushmore, right?
Of course,
Because he
he's the
does
greatest-
both.
He's the
Excellent.
greatest kung fu teacher and performer. The
Yeah.
more you know about kung fu, the more astonishing he is.
Yeah.
And that's even when he performs, but also when he directs, and he turns Kara Hui into to My Young Auntie and all the rest of it.
Yes.
So I have to choose one of his.
Yes.
But the question is, which one?
Okay.
So basically, I'm looking at me before knowing Kung Fu and me knowing after Kung Fu.
Okay.
So basically, of course, it would be like 36 Chamber of Shaolin. It would be normal, but that was before I learned. I have to say his greatest Kung Fu movie.
Uh-oh.
But again, it requires audience knowledge.
Okay.
Because if you don't know what Kung Fu is, then it'll look like,
Oh my God! I wonder if you're gonna say what I'm thinking. Okay, go. Say it.
Legendary Weapons of China.
That wasn't what I was gonna say.
What were you going to say?
But that's a fantastic.
Say what you were going to say.
Heroes East.
And
I'll tell you why.
East, but there's a problem with Heroes with East.
Okay.
Can I tell me why?
Before you tell me what the problem is, can I tell you why? Let me tell you why.
Go.
The reason why is I appreciated this because, see, again, America is ignorant, right? When we say knowledge. Asian, we think Oriental. We think it is one group of people. It is not. It is a diaspora of many different cultures and races and ethnicities together. And so there is a Japanese culture and there's a Chinese culture that are very different and diametrically opposed. And
it's
in
sushi
this movie,
it's sushi and wushu. I mean,
yes,
it's sushi and what's the dim sum?
Yes, exactly.
Dim sum and
perfect
sushi.
Analogy. And this bringing together of the two and showing this conflict, right? That lends itself to a historical confrontation.
Yes, but that's what defeats your question,
right?
Because it's not a kung fu movie.
Okay, but you know what?
It's
Rick,
a martial.
You know what I'm going.
I do know what you mean.
I know
you have to know what I mean. You asked
I
me
appreciate
about the
I appreciate that. But you know what I'm saying, though. And what I'm
you
trying
know
to
what
say
I'm
is,
saying too.
I do. And what I'm trying to get at is that this movie, no one dies.
I know.
You have
no one's not even hurt.
No, not really. That's a great point, right?
Of course.
It's peppered with various styles and techniques.
Buddy, I wrote the book.
They have similarities.
I wrote the book. I wrote the book. I know.
You wrote the book, so you know.
I know.
All right. I'm speaking to the audience too. So and so what you have is, in my opinion, what he did in that movie by having this conflict where no one had to die,
right.
where there were two cultures that were clashing, and there was excellence in the demonstration of the martial arts
as usual.
Yeah, and I just, and there's like this love triangle. It's just all this stuff that's built into it, and I just love the film.
You are correct. You are correct. I also love the film, but you didn't ask me for the best martial art movies that I love. You asked me for the 3 top kung fu movies.
No, that's not what I asked you.
What you asked?
I said that if I was a newbie, right, And
Yeah.
I was your Padawan, and you wanted to
Yeah.
sit me down for an afternoon of kung fu movies. Pick me
You
three.
said kung fu movies
I did say
just
kung fu.
then. Yes, you
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's not a pure kung fu movie. Legendary Weapons of China is. It is the
Okay.
most
I see what you're
advanced
doing now. I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
Oh,
because again, I know that you're going to, I would say 100,000 of your followers
mhm.
are going to berate you for putting me on, because I'm trying to open people's mind to understand that kung fu is not martial arts. It is not. What you think of is kung fu is not kung fu. This is kung fu.
Mhm.
So you asked me about the three kung
Okay.
fu movies. It's not,
Okay.
and believe
So,
me, I feel exactly the way about Heroes of the East that you
all right.
are.
So I'm going to
As
ask
I
you.
also call it Challenge of the Ninja. I
Yes.
also love that title because
Yeah.
I
I
wrote the
hate that
ninja
title.
books.
Hate that title.
I love the ninja book.
Hate that title.
I wrote 8 best-selling ninja novels under the name
Mhm.
Wade Barker. I love ninja.
Wow.
And
I do too. I do
and
too.
so I don't mind Challenge of the Ninja. And also, by the way, they don't call it Challenge of the Ninjas.
Shaolin challenges ninja.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
call it, but they got it right. Because in America, they always say ninjas with an S. What's the
Mhm.
plural of ninja? Ninja, not
Ninja. Yeah.
ninjas.
Correct.
So they got it right. So I'm
I
happy.
want to just so that my viewers understand too, because again,
Yeah, of course, it's your channel.
I understand your mastery of the nomenclature.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. As a
But you
college
asked me the 3 best kung fu movies.
yeah. As a college instructor, I wouldn't pick at my student for not getting it specific as the way in which that I would say it. Right. I have 2 PhDs, so I don't expect them. I do not. I do not expect my students. They have to get there. So let's just for now, just for this conversation, and this is not confrontational. Let's just assume that when I say kung fu movies, we're talking about a very specific. I get what you're saying. You're creating you have established that there is a distinction, and I respect it totally. And I'm not even sure that I would agree with you, but I'm not. You're my guest, so I'm not here to have that.
No offense.
To do that.
I love Heroes of the East.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And I love that movie. And I love Legendary Weapons.
Right.
My only question to you is because you said, I said, oh, I wonder if you're gonna say the one I was gonna say, and then you didn't, and then you asked me what is the one that you were gonna say.
And you told me.
Right.
And I love that one too.
Right. But then you said that's not a kung fu movie.
It's not a complete kung fu movie.
It's not right. And so
you asked me about kung fu.
If I throw a title at you, would you be able to tell me if you consider that to be a movie?
But let me finish the answering this question.
Okay.
Which is Legendary Weapons of China is my third. And the reason it's the third, has the most kung fu of any movie ever made. All sorts of different kinds of kung fu. And every single sequence that might be understood by Westerners, the more you learn kung fu, the more you'll go, oh, I see what he's doing there. Oh, that's genius. That's brilliant. That's great. And also, it has all the Legendary Weapons of China in it. It is a pure Chinese kung fu movie, not mistaken for anything else. And the more you know about kung fu, the better it gets. So, of course, that's going to be my third. And it's Master Leung's ultimate statement in his kung fu, just as Drunken Master 1 and 2 is Jackie's ultimate statement, and Fist of Legend is Jet's ultimate statement.
Oh yeah.
They get to an age where they know they cannot do the kind of things they've always done, and they start getting smarter and slower, and they start, again, if you see, there's only one filmmaker who the Chinese has, Wang Zifeng, who makes movies with actual authentic kung fu in it, not theatrical kung fu. So all the other makers slow down, and also they're trying to make a living and make movies that a lot of people will go see, and also that China won't shut them down. Wu Jing learned his lesson after Wolf Warrior 2. So yes, I also love that movie, but here's the difference. When you ask me that question, because you have 2 PhDs, and because I respect you, I was not going to mollycoddle you. I was not going to give you an answer that you would embrace.
Ah,
I was going to tell you the truth, the
respect. Appreciate it.
100% full,
Respect.
unvarnished truth.
Love it.
No
Love it.
matter how much you tried to stop me,
Yeah.
I was still going to do it
No, no, no. Appreciate it. Appreciate
because
it.
I have respect
I
for
think
you.
that um what's great about having you on and
And getting me
all
off
that
eventually.
the I beg your pardon?
And getting me
It-
off
no,
eventually.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Is that I defer to you when it comes to
To Kung
to this
Fu.
topic. That's why you're here.
I know more
I
about it than you.
but also I watch this. I watch this happen a lot with our president, where they say
Don't
a person says questions, and because of their title, they're not presented with challenge or anything. Everything is accepted as
please
gospel.
don't please
I
don't
would
make
never do that. I wouldn't
please
do
don't
that to you. I think it insults you,
because
much
of
like
my
I don't
kung
do it to my own father.
because of my kung fu, please don't mention Agent Orange again.
So yeah, so that but again, I love the answer. Those are again, I'm with you. Those are three fantastic choices. So I totally respect that. Let me ask you
Next
another
question.
question.
Yeah,
Let me ask you another.
please.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of martial arts actors?
Well, again, I just mentioned because Mount Rushmore had four of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I already mentioned the four: Bruce Lee,
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Chan, Jet
Mm-hmm.
Li, La Calion.
Okay. What are your opinions on Donnie Yen?
I know Donnie. Donnie's
Okay.
great, but
Mm-hmm.
Donnie is most of the time. Donnie is one of the greatest martial artists and one of the greatest wushu sha guys. His
Mm-hmm.
recent stuff, I'm really looking forward to his Blind Swordsman movie in the John Wick universe. He's a
Mm-hmm.
great guy, but he loves Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves, unfortunately, in
Mm-hmm.
other words, he
Interesting.
wants to, he's continuing, you can see in his movies that he's
Mm-hmm.
continuing the Bruce Lee legacy of what Bruce Lee was doing before he died.
Mm-hmm.
He is not building on that. He's not doing what Bruce Lee would do
Mm-hmm.
and was in the process of doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking what Bruce Lee did and making it as violent and as savage and as strong as he possibly can. He loved Bruce Lee's three movies, and he's doing his version of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
respect it enormously. The Prosecutor has some awesome stuff in it. Everything, and he gets better with each movie.
Downloaded that too. I gotta
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
My favorite Donnie Yen thing is when he worked with Sammo and Wu Jing in
SPL.
SBL.
Yeah.
Chapeau.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
that fight with Wu Jing was just like, they both said, let's go.
Legendary.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And Sammo and involving, and also because Sammo I've known for many years too, and I love Sammo. And Sammo's so flawed as a human being, but as a martial artist, he's just
Aren't we
incredible.
all?
I keep on saying, why he'll never, even as old and as heavyweight as he becomes, he will never stop working because he's just too talented not to hire, even though he will constantly sabotage himself. He's just too talented not to hire. So that's the thing where he's working with Donnie Yen. So he says, okay, we're going to involve ground fighting. And it was still the best. Those movies are the best wushu sha made, but they're not exactly pure kung fu because they're closed energetically. They're trying to hurt each other. They're not trying to heal each other. I mean, the main exercise in kung fu and in Tai Chi especially is push hands, where you're trying to share each other's energy and help each other. And and to show to the other person that you're off balance, and that's why I'm going to help you be off balance. But no, they're trying to hurt each other. They are, and they're doing it extremely well. So yeah, but again, as we already discussed, I love Vincent Zhao.
Oh, yeah.
And if he had stayed in the film business, but he knew there was no more place for him in the film business, so
Really?
he got out of the film business.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, because they didn't want to. I mean, what was it? I'm trying to remember. I think he did a movie, whatever it's called, Wushu. I forgot what it was. And everybody else in the movie is punchy, punchy, punchy. Only Vincent Zhao is open hand. He refuses to make a fist throughout the entire film. But the film is not good. because again they're going, come on, make a fist, be badass, and it's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
He did a TV show.
Also, Donnie Yen fired him. Donnie Yen fired him from a movie they were going to do together.
Really?
Because he wouldn't fight. He would do kung fu. He wouldn't wushu. He wouldn't martial arts.
Interesting.
So Donnie Yen, it's a famous story.
No, I wasn't aware of that. Wow.
Yeah, and Vincent Zhao had to sue him because he had the contract. He was contracted to be the co-star of the movie.
Wow.
But anyway, I love Donnie. I think Donnie is incredibly awesome.
Yeah, Donnie.
But Donnie wants to be Bruce Lee, and that's what. But then again, nobody else wants to be Bruce Lee, so Donnie gets it all, and Donnie loves it. And Donnie is getting better and better and better at it. The scenes that he does in The Prosecutor I love that entire sequence where he has the bulletproof shield and his own gun.
I haven't seen it. I've only seen one scene, and it's a train fight. There's a train fight.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
But watch the whole thing because that's him doing some of the best martial arts ever. Because
is it English dubbed? Do you know?
Oh yeah,
it's English dub.
Yeah, again, you go to Wellgo USA, you can find it English dub, and you go to and they just put it out on Hayao, the streaming service.
Oh, they did.
And you can get it subtitled or
I have it on. It's called Fandango.
Oh sure, I know.
It's like a website. I downloaded it recently. I still haven't had a chance to watch it. The Prosecutor.
But do what I do. I do what I call 4F films. 4F films is fast forward to the fight. So I fast forward to the fight.
Really?
And yeah. Because, basically, a lot of these movies, the content is such, I let it go for a half hour. If I'm not pleased, I'll go to the next fight. Wow. And I'll watch the fights. But then I'll go back and watch it.
Oh,
because basically it's like watching a ballet.
Gotcha.
Is the plot of a ballet important to me? No, it's the beautiful dancing. It's the beautiful emotions. Same with opera.
Got it.
So be that as it may. But he uses guns as a kung fu weapon now, or as a martial art weapon. And those sequences where he's fighting with the shield and the gun, because the gun is his fist and his foot, and the shield is his qigong, is his self-help, keeping himself healthy. Those are so well done, those sequences.
You make me want to go watch that.
You should.
Check that out after this.
Yeah, baby. Next question.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Who else do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah. How do you feel about Gordon Liu?
I love Gordon. Gordon signed my poster. I've talked to him twice. I talked to him even after he had his stroke. And Gordon, again, I quote him at length in the Films of Fury book. Gordon was La Calyong's brother, except adopted brother. He wasn't an actual blood brother.
Correct.
And he was an accountant. And again, this is what the magic that La Calyong does. Whoever goes to work with La Calyong becomes his student, and he turns them into this awesome vessel. And La Cha-Hoi became La Calyong's Shaolin puppet. And so he got to do all the Shaolin Temple movies, and he does a wonderful job because, again, he's not, in all of his movies, he's not anger and muscles. He's never anger and muscles. He's confusion. He's not completely educated, but the whole point of the movie is to educate him. 36 Chamber of Shaolin, Return to That's why it was hilarious. I expected, and virtually all my friends expected, that when we have Return to the 36 Chamber, it's going to be Pai Mei again. Or not Pai Mei, Sante.
Yes.
It's going to be Sante again. And it's not Sante.
It's not, no.
Because again, because at the end of the first movie, he had learned his lesson. And he was well on his way. But so they needed to turn him to another character so he could teach him the lesson over again. And that's why he's only a secondary character in the third Shaolin Temple movie.
Correct.
So it's like
now they're focusing on Fong Seiyu, right?
Yeah. And the great poor, I forgot his name, the guy who never quite became a superstar that he should have.
Oh, you mean
the student of
what's wrong with me?
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
God.
Goodness.
Why does name just jump out of my head?
I have an excuse. But anyway, because I'm an old man. But be that as it may.
Name just jumped out of my head.
So I love them all.
Yeah.
I think they're all wonderful. There are people I don't like, but they're like Van Damme. Van Damme and Seagal are just awful people. They may be decent, and certainly Seagal is a great martial artist. He's a great Aikido guy, but he's a terrible
person.
He's a terrible human being. So
yeah, absolutely.
Whatever. Anyway, next.
You are referencing Xiao Ho. Xiao Ho.
Saho, that was the guy.
Yes,
He
yes,
never
yes, yes.
quite. It was so
I don't
sad.
know why his name jumped out of my head. Yes.
And he's
Always in the background.
yeah.
He's in Clan of the White Lotus.
But
He's in Return. He's basically co-star in
Mad Monkey Kung Fu,
Mad Monkey Kung Fu. I mean, yeah,
right?
he's
And
a
then he was the
fantastic
star,
fight in Dirty Ho.
right?
The
Right.
wine tasting.
Oh yeah, 36 Chamber of Shaolin.
Yeah.
The last one.
Mm-hmm.
He got to be the star of that, but then La Carleone stopped,
Yeah.
and so
he passed away. Did he pass away?
Sao Ho?
Yes.
No, he hasn't passed away, but La Carleone did.
Yes, of course. But
Yeah.
Xiao Ho's still with us.
Yeah, he's still with us.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
Who in your vision
Yeah.
is the best American martial artist? Like I'm talking about film, not
Yeah, I know.
not actual. Because I have my opinions on that.
That's a tough one, because virtually all the ones who work in America that I know are still Asian. So
I asked the question and I should have phrased it differently. Now it's because I don't know why I thought I was thinking Scott Atkins. Scott Atkins is not American.
Yeah, he's British.
Popped in my head.
And I know him very well. He's been at my Kung Fu extravaganza at the San Diego Comic-Con for many, many years. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's he like? What's he like in person?
Oh, he's awesome. He's such a nice guy. He's such a great guy. You can go on to that Fat Samurai Guy's channel and see interviews between, that Fat has done, that I have done, that Frank Jang has done with Scott. We can put you in touch with him.
Oh yeah.
Fat can put
I wasn't saying that to get in touch with him. I was just wondering, like, sometimes
he's a sweetheart.
I wish sometimes that I could be not even to just not for the camera, just to sit in a room and just listen to these legends just talk.
Yeah.
I could just I'm sitting here and I'm like, forgive me, my questions are all over the place because it's just so much I want to ask you.
I already forgave you.
I find myself there's questions that are on this piece of paper, but there are other questions that I want to ask you, and so I apologize.
No need, no apologies needed.
Can we talk about your IMDb list?
Oh yeah, my IMDb list is my Films of Fury list.
Yes,
it's the same list.
I made
a
briefly
mistake.
Address it.
There's only one title in there that I would not have put on originally,
which is
Shaolin, the last one on the list.
Oh, the more recent one.
Yeah, the more recent one. That would not be on the list. I would replace that with any number of why am I blanking? I mentioned him before. Zi Huafang made 3 magnificent movies, and why am I blanking on those titles? But in any case, look him up, and I would put that on the list. But let's talk about the list.
Sure. It appears to be a choice.
Of course,
that
it's my opinion.
You didn't rank them, but rather you listed them in the way in which you
order of
saw
release.
Them. Right?
No, not the way I saw them. In order of release.
Order of release.
1966.
Okay, that changes. That changes everything. May I ask why you chose to do it that way?
Yeah, because there's no way to value judge them. I mean, basically, they're my top 100 except for Shaolin. So I put them in the order of their release.
Okay.
And so that way you can see. But again, you're absolutely right. 1978 to 1992 are the cream of the crop.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Are there any overlooked or underappreciated martial arts films that you think are out there?
Not by me, and I can only speak for me. Again, I can't read anybody else's mind. I can't speak for anybody else. Oh, no, I can speak for anybody else, but I refuse to. I refuse to speak for anybody else.
That's fine.
Whenever anybody starts talking to me and says you or they, I go, stop right there.
Okay.
You're imagining that. You think you know what they're thinking, but you only know what you think. Tell me what you think. You tell me what anybody else thinks. I won't believe you. Okay. And I'll also say one thing and one thing only, which is okay. If you say so. Or my other favorite one is oh ho. I say oh ho because I'm Santa Claus first, but also oh ho stands for one human's opinion. So I own oh ho, one human's opinion. So I'll say oh ho.
Okay.
In any case, but the only mind I can read is my own. The only opinion I have is my own. So I can't speak for anybody else. So is anybody underrated? Not as far as I'm concerned. They're all in the book. And they're all in the first two books too. They're all in, the martial art books. I did 2 books on martial art movies. So I say what I think about them in those books too.
Okay.
And so I don't think, but I know I feel a lot of people, the underrated, whenever, also on social media, people will say this so-and-so, they'll say a certain James Bond movie or whatever is underrated. And my reply is invariably, no, it's not. And you know why it's not? Because we have 8 billion people on this planet. And also the other thing I always say is when they say, this is wildly underrated. I say, name 3 people who underrate it. Name 3. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Name 3 people who have actually underrated it.
Who have actually underrated it. If you're just saying it's underrated, where are you getting that from? I'm pretty much guaranteed that they saw one person underrate it on the internet, and then suddenly everybody is underrated. Everybody is underrated. And so again, I always say, prove it to me. Name 3 people who underrate it. And some people have. And then I will check up on them. And I say, okay, well, you got 3. But how does that make that? How does 3 people become everybody in your mind?
Okay.
So I don't believe anything is underrated, because the one thing I've learned as a critic, and I started being a critic in junior high school, and overwhelmingly, the movies that succeed because a majority of people on the planet like them. When I see a movie that I really like, I know, and also I will always, and I'll be the guy in the lobby who's always going, "Why did you like it?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And I say, "Why did you like it?" And they'll go, "Oh, I don't know. It had a girl and there was a car and then, they were fighting." Usually I find the majority of people that I've spoken to, and again, it's me, don't know why they like it. But I find something in each of the movies that I really love and that have been successful that are comparable. I will see there's something, because a great entertainment in whatever medium it comes from, be it a book, be it a movie, be it a play, always has the chi quotient, which is it touches something in humans. Just like, again, martial arts in America, they don't want to say that the true power comes from chi and empathy. They don't want to say that. They want to say it's from anger and muscles and fists. But it's not true. And it's the same thing with whatever succeeds. It succeeds because it touches people. Many people who don't know why it touches them, but they're touched. It's the difference between coming out of a theater and saying that was okay, and coming out of the theater and turning to their friends and going, "You got to see this. You got to see this." Whether it's a comedy, whether it's a tragedy, whether it's a drama, whether it's an action film. And of course, I do the action film autopsy. So I review every action film every month. And the ones that succeed, I recognize, because they're what I want. I always say, I don't want to be a badass. I want to be a smart ass, or at best, a wise ass. I want to bring smart. If I see a movie that's smart, I said it's probably going to succeed. If I see a movie that's wise, that goes one more step up, that speaks to a human truth, more than likely. Although the smart ones will probably succeed more, because the huge population, it's only a minority that's wise. There are a lot more smart people, I find. And I can't even consider myself wise. I'm smart simply because I got to go to Taiwan. And I went, oh. And what the great Kung Fu teacher does is they teach me a lesson that proves that I can do magic. And once I'm shown that once I was shown that I could throw a 25-year-old, 250-pound football player across the room without feeling him, okay, I'm good. Because I know a lot of Tai Chi students who get frightened when they're giving this kind of power, and they shut down, they close that door, they go back to real life. And my attitude is, the door is open. For me, the Rick door is open. I'm never closing that sucker again. The teacher I work with now, Tai Chi Alchemy, when I first met him in 2002, what he did was he had me put my arm up, and then he pushed down on my arm, and he could do it. You know, he could overcome my muscles. And then he said, put up your arm. And I put up my arm again. And he said, activate your forefinger. But because I have an imagination, because I've written all these books and I've done, cartoons and I've done all sorts of imaginative things, I have, again, my Kung Fu is open hand, open heart, open mind. And so when he said activate the forefingers, I thought I understood what he meant. So I activated my forefinger. And I felt a rush in my arm. And then he tried to push it down, and he couldn't push it down. And then he said, okay, this kid gets it. So he said, do it on both arms. And so I did it on both arms. I activated my forefingers in both hands. And I put my arms out. And he had everyone in class come over, grab my arm, and push me with all their might. And I did not feel them. And it was like he turned me into Goliath from the X-Men. And it was such a rush. It was such an amazing realization that I started to laugh. And at that point, the spell was broken and they could push me. But again, the door was open. And I went, there are things I can do. There are things I can do. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, by the way, today. I have a shirt. I have Chi Works over here. It's over here.
Oh, yeah.
It says Chi Works. And I got news for you. It does.
It does.
But at least it does for and everybody who's good is good. Michael Jai White is great, but that's right. I don't know why he's getting into all this Bruce Lee crap at this point. If I see him again, I'm going to say to him, look, man, he's dead. You don't know him. Don't make conclusions about dead men.
I think the gentleman who, and I won't say his name, I think the gentleman who YouTube channel he's appearing on, this is a gentleman who, if you read up on him, dabbles in controversy, loves stirring up what we call in the hood a real and he likes to do that. And so he feeds it's not Mr. White's, it's really kind of the host job to feed the questions to the person and then allow them to go,
and also to re-edit it so it says the worst possible thing, probably.
Yes. So, and I think that Mr. White is a victim of that, if I'm being honest. Maybe but again, it is still his opinions. Some of his opinions are wild. I could beat Bruce Lee and all those things that I think also, I don't like conversations like that. I think that they have no real substantive value.
Of course, they don't, because he's dead. Bruce Lee is dead. There's no way you'll ever know.
And to say that you would beat him when he's not here,
it's like lame.
It's really out of.
I like Michael a lot. I've known him.
I like him too. I mean, I've never met him, but he seems like a good guy.
But sadly, he made some really, really, really good movies, and then he stopped making really, really good movies, and that made me sad.
Perhaps it's through age and attrition, because to me, I mean, Blood and Bone
is great. Black Dynamite, great.
Yeah, Black Dynamite's incredible. The movie he did with Scott Boyka, what is it? Undisputed 2, I think. It was. Yeah, great. He done some. Oh my goodness! I mean, the guy was in Batman.
Yeah,
he's a fantastic. I really like him. I've never met him. I've heard different things from different people. I'd like to experience that for myself to see if those things are true. But I think as far as African American martial artists, he's up there.
Oh,
Jim Kelly,
no question.
Yeah. Carl Scott, Jim Kelly.
I did one of the last interviews with Jim Kelly.
man,
You can see it
to see
online.
him emaciated, it hurt me. It literally hurt me watching. Again,
Yeah,
age is undefeated,
right.
and to see that, I was like, man, that hurts me so bad.
Yeah,
I
but
love Jim Kelly.
he'll never. Let's put it this way:
Mm.
Jim Kelly will never not be in Enter the Dragon.
And you come right out of a comic book.
He will always be in Enter the Dragon,
Mm.
and he's set.
Yeah,
No worries.
yeah.
He
And
can never.
there was talk of. I'm so glad that that talk has died down. There was talk of doing a remake with Tarantino, and I flipped when I heard it. I was like, no way,
I'll
no
take
way.
it.
Godfather, no.
No, you
Right?
see, okay, again, I
Die
don't.
Hard, no. There are certain movies, no. Like,
I don't
please
care.
don't do it.
I don't
You
care.
really?
I don't care because I'll just like certain people will
Well, because
always
we'll
say.
always have the original.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
What do I care?
That's true.
Let them do their best, not their worst. Let them do their best.
Mm.
In other words, for instance, in China, Fist of Legend is
That's a good
sacrilege.
point. That's
It's
actually a great point.
sacrilege.
That's a great point.
It all
I love
depends
that
on the eye of
movie.
the beholder. Yeah, most
Yeah,
Amerians do
Yeah, that's a
because
great
we're
point.
not carrying that weight.
Mm.
So again, I say to anybody, if Tarantino wants to do it, man, do you? You know, my issue with Tarantino is I saw Kill Bill,
Mhm.
and I said to some of his assistants, he could have done better.
I was going to ask you, what was your opinion of Kill Bill?
It could have done better. Again, it's a martial art movie. He was pretending it was a kung fu movie, but it wasn't a kung fu movie.
Mm.
It was a martial art movie, and and again, he was doing the dim sum. He was doing the dim sum.
To me, it's not a serious martial arts film.
Sushi. No, of course not.
Yeah.
You could tell from the moment it started when everybody was talking like this.
Mm.
And it's like, and I was sort of like going, because he was going through a stage at that point. I was because I had written a book called The World of, for 1 week only, The World of Exploitation Films, which he apparently liked a lot. And I was invited to the premiere of Grindhouse, this movie.
Yeah.
And I, and me being me, in the Kung Fu world, and it's the Kung Fu Santa world, I was known as, my nickname was the Anvil. I was known as the Anvil because of Bugs Bunny cartoons and Wile E. Coyote cartoons. If you ask me my opinion, I'm not going to lie to you, as you discovered here. And so what happened was QT is not at the screening, of Grindhouse, but his assistants were. And they knew me, and they sat me first row balcony, and you know, how'd you like it? I said, what happened? What the hell happened with this? And I made mention of certain things that were promised by QT during the making of this that weren't in the finished film, and one of his, not his assistants, I can't say who told me.
Okay.
It was the same people, because when I was dealing with Weinstein, some shell-shocked staff members told me certain things that were, you know, oh. And so some of these staff members told me some things that made me go, oh, what a shame that this happened to him. So Kill Bill suffered a little bit too, because again, he was doing the sushi versus dim sum thing. He was saying certain things were Chinese when they were clearly Japanese, and vice versa. He had the best Japanese sword guy imaginable on set, but he had the Chinese guy do the samurai sword fights. And already it was just like me over with the Kung Fu Panda people. Yeah, we saw Seven Samurai. No, you're doing a Kung Fu movie.
Right.
And by the way, you asked me the best American Kung Fu artist, no question in my mind, the best Kung Fu artist, the most American Kung Fu artist is Po the Panda in Kung Fu Panda 1 and 3. 1 and 3. There is no Kung Fu in Kung Fu Panda 2 and 4. There's none. I said, change the titles to Martial Arts Marsupial, because Kung Fu Panda 1 and 3 has pure Kung Fu in it.
Okay.
And
Look,
Kung
you
Fu Panda,
forgive me because I'm I've seen those since Cub was young. I saw Kung Fu Panda, the first one. I think the villain is a tiger.
he's a jaguar.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I don't remember the second one. Is the third one the bad guy's like a rhino? right
I
now.
believe it is. Yeah.
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 See, and I didn't even know they made a fourth one. I'm so behind in my movies. I've got to catch up.
Well, I'm not.
Ah.
So don't worry. But anyway, yeah, you want to see real kung fu in a movie? Kung Fu Panda 1 and 3.
Kung Fu Panda. Okay. All right. What in your opinion,
Mhm.
is the most beautiful style aesthetically to watch in a kung
It's
fu movie?
it's not the style. It's the artist.
It's the artist.
It's the artist.
That's a great
And
point.
by the way, you keep on saying in your opinion. I cannot give you anything but my opinion.
True.
Anyway, so
Mhm.
yeah, there are some people like, and also the more you learn about kung fu and the
Mhm.
art that they're doing,
Mhm.
the more you understand about, the more beautiful it
Sure.
becomes. Literally, La Kalyong is now so beautiful to me, even
Mhm.
though it doesn't look beautiful to an uneducated eye.
Okay.
But basically, I will be sexist because it's fair,
Okay.
because I understand the difference between male and female
Mm.
physiology.
Mm.
Women are on a pivot that men are not on.
Okay.
Men are on the solid hips.
Mhm.
So of course, Cynthia Rothrock, Michelle Yeoh,
Yeah.
Hui Ying Hung,
Mhm.
and Angela Mao,
Mhm.
they're going to be more visually beautiful. But also, I was brought up on ballet and opera as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
and again, and you watch male and female ballet dancers,
Mhm.
and you watch male and female musical dancers,
Mhm.
and they do glorious stuff. But for the most part, and Donnie Yen, and also it all depends. Donnie Yen is beautiful in his own way, even though it's very savage and very direct and very Bruce Lee.
Mhm.
And Jackie Chan is gloriously fluid in
Mhm.
his own way. And it
Mhm.
all depends on the film, but he's much better in the ones we mentioned already, which is Drunken Master 2, where
Mhm.
where he is called upon to do that style.
Mhm.
Vincent Zhao is never going to be on. He's going to be on my list of my favorite kung fu film stars, but
Mhm.
not as the most beautiful, not as the most fluid. He's
Mhm.
pretty direct.
Mhm.
He's not going to do anything he doesn't have to do. And again, it's the same thing with Zhu Huafeng's movies.
Mhm.
His characters never do anything flowery. It's
Mhm.
always wildly direct.
Mhm.
And he doesn't. And in movies, of course, they'll exaggerate. But in real kung fu, boom,
Mm.
boom. That's it.
Interesting.
Again, human
Interesting.
physiology. Boom.
Interesting. Interesting.
The better the
Personally,
kung fu guy is, the less he will do.
hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Wow. For me, I enjoy watching Mantis Technique when I see it.
Mantis is
Um,
great.
yeah, I enjoy drunken boxing, for what it is. Um, and I really look at you go.
But you only know the mantis and the drunken that you see in the movies. But thankfully,
or
both
what
have
I've
been
or what I studied for
all of
15
them, yeah,
years.
or what you study.
Yeah.
All the ones in the movies, the
Mm,
best ones are Jackie Chan and La Kalyong.
mm, nice. Fantastic. Oh my
No
God. This
question.
this is a great conversation, sir. I'm
Well, it's
so
it's mostly a monologue, but that's okay.
no. It was a dialogue. I think that this was absolutely fantastic. I can't begin to thank you so much for blessing
You
myself
just
and my audience
you
with your
just did.
presence.
You just
Uh,
did. You said you
Well,
can't begin. I said you just begun.
let me wrap it up by saying that this was fantastic. It went by so quickly. I wish that we could continue. I would love and invite you to come back and visit us from time to time. We have lots of different segments and things that we do on the channel that lend themselves to your expertise, and I think that they would be that
Did you
again people would benefit from
did you ever
your
hear
knowledge.
did you ever hear of the mentalist, the amazing Kreskin?
Yes, I have. Yes.
He's a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine. He passed away recently. But
Wow.
he always said, when you think of me, Ric Meyers, think of Dracula. Understand one thing about Ric Meyers. He
Mm.
never goes where he's not invited.
I
So I will not have
love
off
that.
you saying, put me on. But I will say right now for the record, I would love to be back, but you have to invite me.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I
Absolutely.
ask. I will not
Absolutely.
ask, but I will answer.
Absolutely. Sir, would you be so kind? Tell people where they can find you. Please plug your book, plug your
No
film.
place. No
Please.
place. You can't find me. I am on Facebook because I'm an old man, so I do mostly Facebook, but I'm also on all the others. Not
Mhm.
X. I'm not on X, but Instagram. I think you found me on Instagram. I'm
Yes.
on That Fat Samurai Guy's YouTube channel at least once a month with my monthly action film autopsy. I'm also, what else? Let me check. Where else am I? I just got on Cameo. That was
Wow.
again somebody else insisted that I do that. It wasn't my idea.
I'm gonna have you give me a birthday wish.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
there
pay
you
for
go. And also later in the year, I'm going to become Kung Fu Santa with full suit because
it.
I
Wow.
was I was Santa Claus all over the world for 15 years
Wow.
before the pandemic.
You
And
know, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't.
no, you can't figure that out, can you? Well, I put a little makeup on too, just to make sure. And I'm on TikTok, but I've only done like 4 TikToks. Mostly, I'm watching. I'm also on Discord,
Mhm.
and yeah, basically, if you look up Action Film Autopsy on That Fat Samurai Guy's channel, you'll see a list. He always lists me, and you can do the same. You
I'll
can
actually
take,
be listing it at the bottom
yeah,
here.
you can take
We'll
all
put
the
it.
stuff that I'm available
Yeah.
to. And a lot
Yeah.
of my collectibles, including some of my signed Shaw Brothers posters, are available from Chimera Publishing on again, I'm such an old man. What's the selling app? The biggest selling app?
Amazon,
No,
Etsy,
uh,
Pinterest,
no, geez, you're not getting any of that right.
Amazon, Etsy, Pinterest,
No, what I'm blanking. I'm trying to look it up now. Shopping. There's the shopping one.
Shopify,
Hold on. eBay.
eBay.
On
Sorry about that.
eBay.
eBay. Got you. Got you.
eBay on Chimera Publishing on eBay. They have a lot of my photos of Jackie. I think they have one or two of the signed Jackie Chan pictures I have left. But I think
Well,
they still have the signed. I have a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon poster signed by the director Ong Lee,
wow.
and so those are all available through him because I'm downsizing. I'm
Ah,
downsizing.
fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he is.
And,
Please, you have something else you want to say? Please.
well, yeah, I was just going to show I'm also in the credits. Yeah, I taught the Minions Kung Fu in Minions: Rise of Gru, and they did a drawing of me.
Really?
They did
Wow.
over here. Put it full screen again.
Okay.
You can see it behind me. Yeah,
Wow.
right there.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
That's me as Minion Myers, the master of dumb fu.
Be on your lookout for that.
Yeah.
This has been a fantastic conversation. Again, we look forward to having you back here. Ladies and gentlemen, Ric Meyers.
I
Thanks again.
apologize. I thank you, and I apologize to all your watchers.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks again. We'll see
Thank
you
you,
next
buddy.
time. Lone Wolf and Cub, we out.